In Florida, it's still very close. Biden's up now by 0.1. I would just ask him to call it while there's still a chance. And anyway, in Georgia, which is now up to 7% of the vote, Biden is up by 2.6%. It's still very close, and a lot of the votes still to come in.
But in the version that I saw, and we're sometimes looking at different websites, it's a huge advantage for us because
I've got a bunch open.
Yeah, because they all have to, CNN has to stick with their official numbers, New York Times has to stick with their official numbers, etc. Right? We could look at all of them. In the one that I'm looking at right now, Ossoff is trailing Purdue. So it's an interesting situation with, it's too few reporting in Georgia to really make too big a deal out of it. But it'd be interesting to see have Biden leading, but Ossoff, the Democratic candidate, trailing so far in Georgia. A lot of time to go in Georgia before it gets real. Right now, Biden with a 0.3 lead in, 0.1 lead in Florida. And obviously if this keeps going the way that it is, Trump will retake the lead and then he appears to look good in Florida. So John, which other polls or states have closed or are about to close?
Well, the next hour is actually where it gets pretty interesting because there's quite a few. So let's see, we've got Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Texas. Could be important. The far western parts of Michigan, as well as the far western parts of Texas, will be open for an additional hour, but the vast majority of both of those states will be closing. Texas is expected that it will be able to do most of the count, but probably not all of the count by Tuesday. Which could matter if it's close, of course. You've also got polls closing in Alabama and Maine. Okay, and it looks like we've got a number of other states that are probably going to be a little bit less exciting, like North Dakota, South Dakota, Kansas, Oklahoma, those sorts of states, and a few states across the South. So we're expanding to a lot of states at 5, a few additional ones at 5:30.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, well, okay, Alabama and Maine, that doesn't sound too exciting. Those are not swing states. No, there are exciting races there. And as we get the Senate races and the congressional races that we're looking out for, we'll give you more updates on that as well. Alabama has an important Senate race. Doug Jones, you remember, of course, beat Roy Moore in what would have otherwise been a shocking upset if it wasn't Roy Moore who was in the race. And so now Tommy Tuberville went in with a large polling lead in Alabama. So the Democrats are likely to lose a seat there in the Senate, but they're gonna pick up a lot more in other places if the polling is right. And in Maine, Maine's 2nd district could go either direction. The rest of the districts in Maine and Nebraska are the only 2 states that do electoral college points based on districts. So there's one district in Maine that's up for grabs. So we'll be looking out for that, and that could be very important if Trump wins Pennsylvania and Biden wins Arizona and everything else stays the same, meaning that as expected, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota go to Biden and the rest go to Trump. At that point, the 2 districts in Maine and Nebraska will decide the election. So it's super relevant how that goes. John, more?
Yeah, in addition, we also have some of the other East Coast states, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and DC too. Yeah. I don't think those are as hotly contested, but they are going to be closing.
No, but what you'd be surprised about in Delaware is nothing. No, Delaware is not at all interesting. Unfortunately, I wish Washington, D.C. was more interesting. Democrats will win in a landslide, and it'll only matter for the presidential race, but not obviously for Congress where they're not represented, which is of course insane. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.